watching the recording. Quite some news today, and I will explain everything first in a brief, and then we'll go through the details, because the thing is that there should be quotas introduced at the Czech embassy in Dresden, which means that some nationalities will basically have zero chance of applying there, although they could apply there until now. So that would be a pretty big change. Probably for many of you who are watching me, that will not be much of your concern, but I'll take you through everything and we'll dig deeper into that. So first of all, everything I'm talking about in this live stream is a proposal so far. So it's been given to the government to get it approved before the end of the year. So they're rushing it because it's kind of like a pressing matter, let's say. And everyone agrees with that. So very likely that will be approved. But as of now, it's still just a proposed change. So roughly, or in simple language, most nationalities in the world, if they are applying for okay, so this only concerns employee cards and business visas. So other visas or other residence permit types are not affected by that. So blue cards are fine, students are fine, all that. We are talking only about employee cards and business visas, freelance visas, Živno visas. So for most nationalities in the world, if you want to apply for an employee card or for a business visa, you have to go through the embassy in the country of origin only, or potentially at the Czech embassy in the country where you have been residing for more than 2 years legally. So let's say my favorite example, if you're an Indian and you live in Dubai for 3 years, you can only apply for a Czech visa in India, which is basically impossible thanks to the quotas, or potentially in United Arab Emirates, if you manage to get an appointment there and if you've been legally residing there for more than 2 years. If you're an Indian living in Dubai for 1 year, then you can only apply in India because you don't meet the second condition, which is being in the country legally for at least 2 years. So this is the first thing you need to understand before we move further. And then, as I mentioned, there are quotas at different embassies in different countries, different Czech embassies in different countries, saying how many applications can be submitted yearly through that embassy. So again, let's say in India, the quota is 1,100, let's say, for employee cards, but these are divided into some governmental programs. So if you're not part of the governmental program, you cannot apply at all for an employee card. For the business visa now, the quota is 24, if we don't count the digital nomad version, and 12 of that is available for general public. So 12 people a year can apply for a business visa in India. And this is not only case of India, but most other countries as well. What's been happening recently in Dresden is that many applicants, especially from Vietnam and from Uzbekistan, were falsifying their documents proving how long they have been living in the EU. So they would not have to apply for the employee card or a business visa in Vietnam or in Uzbekistan, where it might be very, very complicated. In Vietnam, almost impossible, basically. So they were providing fake documents proving that they live in the EU for more than 2 years, so they can go to Dresden and apply there. So that's basically, first of all, obviously using fake documents, that's illegal, but also kind of going around this quota is another thing that the government doesn't really like. And that's the same as I was talking about, that many Indians come here to study, and immediately as they come here, they switch to an employee card, which is potentially, it's legal, but the government will see that and they will stop student visa applications soon as well, or they will make it very complicated, because this is also abusing the system, because you cannot get an employee card, so you apply for a student visa and then switch to an employee card in the Czech Republic. That's abusing the system, and this is similar thing in Dresden, that Vietnamese and people from Uzbekistan are doing this to basically go around the system. And that means that the consulate in Dresden or the visa center in Dresden has to accept plenty of these applications, where they often don't even accept them because of the fake documents, and they cannot really focus on agenda they should be doing and why they are there, basically. So this is why this change is being introduced. So there will be a quota for certain nationalities, how many applications they can submit yearly. For some nationalities, it will still be open and they will be able to submit the applications in as many numbers as possible. So I don't know if it makes sense. It kind of like, it does in my head, but maybe it's not clear. So like, ask me questions now or comment after the video if you're watching the recording. But I will now go through the details where it applies or where it does not apply. So let's say most of the nationalities in the world can only apply in the country of origin or in the country where they have been residing for more than 2 years. And this list is basically the same or the same countries as those who cannot enter the EU or the Schengen space without a visa. So generally for all these nationalities who need a visa to come to the Czech Republic or to the EU in general, then for those nationalities the quota will apply in general. There are some exceptions, I will get to those, but generally if you need a visa to enter the EU, the quota is for you. If you don't need a visa to enter the EU, so you have the visa-free stay, the 90 days visa-free stay, like Americans, Canadians, Australians, and other nationalities, I will go through that list as well in a second, then nothing really changes for you because the quotas will not apply to you. So that's the most important thing there. And let's see who will also not be affected by this, and that's people who go through the special governmental programs. So like for the qualified employee, highly qualified employee, the key and scientific personnel, and also the digital nomad program will not be affected by this either. So again, only employee cards, only business visa, and if you don't go through the governmental programs. Okay, and now let's see. Well, if you want to read more about it, which will probably make more sense, then I will put a link to an article we've written about this topic into the description of the video once I finish the live stream. And you can read through that more, or of course, ask me questions now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about quotas being introduced at the Czech embassy in Dresden, which will practically make it impossible for some nationalities to apply there for employee cards or business visas. And now in the article I've just mentioned, we also have this map which shows which nationalities are not affected by this. And I will read the full list for you right now. I just have the list in Czech because it's taken directly from the law and it's prepared in Czech. So I will be translating it in English as we go. So in Czech, the name of the country might be like A or B or C or something, but in English it might be placed somewhere else. So if you don't hear your country like at the first, like in the first sections, first part, then wait, it might still come later. So yeah, let's go through that. So basically these nationalities I will now read will not be affected by this change, and everyone else will. So let's do this. So nationalities that will not be affected by the changes in Dresden with the quotas: Albania, Andorra, Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, Armenia, Australia, Bahamas, Barbados, Belarus, but Belarusians cannot really apply for any visas now anyway because of the war, but they will not be affected by the quotas. Bosnia, Brazil, Brunei, Dominica, Philippines. So that's good news for a lot of my viewers here on TikTok and Instagram or wherever. A lot of you are Filipinos, so for you it is still possible to apply in Dresden, which means that if you've been living in the EU for some time, or for more than 2 years to be specific, then you can still potentially submit your employee card application in Dresden. But guys, please do not get any fake documents, because otherwise you will be added to the blacklist as well and you will not be able to apply at all. So be careful. Grenada, Georgia, Guatemala, Honduras, Hong Kong, Chile, Montenegro, India. Next page. Israel, Japan, South Korea, Canada, Kazakhstan, Colombia. You've seen the Miss World or something? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Costa Rica, Macau, Malaysia, Marshall Islands, Mauritius, Mexico, Micronesia, Moldova, Monaco, Mongolia, Nauru, Nicaragua, New Zealand, Palau, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Salvador, Samoa, San Marino, North Macedonia, Seychelles, Singapore, United Arab Emirates, United States of America, Serbia, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Solomon Islands, Thailand, Taiwan, Tonga, Trinidad and Tobago, Tuvalu, Ukraine, Uruguay, Vatican, Great Britain, Venezuela, and West Timor. So these are the safe countries. And whoever is not in this list and is not an EU citizen either, obviously, then the quotas will apply there, which means that even if you've been residing in the Czech Republic for more than 2 years, you will, in other EU countries for more than 2 years, you will not be able to apply for your visa, business visa, or for the employee card in Dresden. So for example, from top of my head, a lot of clients we get are also from Pakistan. So if you're a Pakistani living in some other EU country for more than 2 years, submit your application before the end of the year, because otherwise after that you will not be able to do that. Okay, so this was it. Might be a bit chaotic, I'm sorry for that, but it's a very recent change. And we wanted to share that as soon as possible so people can get prepared. I mean, basically you have no chance of applying this year anyway, so if you're not in the list of safe countries, that's the end for you basically. But because very likely this will be approved. It's not yet though, so it might change, but very likely you've missed your chance. And thanks to that, to people of Vietnam and Uzbekistan who screwed the whole system, and now the government is introducing these quotas. So anyway, this is how it is. That's always been like this since the 13 years ago when we started. The processes were like a bit wild, but also Czech Republic was pretty open to all nationalities. There were no like quotas, nothing like that. But then, depending on the behavior of people from different countries, the different changes happened and the quotas were introduced, and now this just continues. So that's how it is. Okay, no questions about this topic. So I will be finishing the live stream, and I will also immediately go to the joiners section and I will be doing live Q&As there. So if you're not a joiner yet, join and you can ask me questions live, and I'll be you can basically have a one-on-one consultation with me about your case. Thank you very much guys for being here, and I'll see you again Thursday, Monday until the end of the world. Bye bye.